Peace, everyone. I've been talking about men the longest. Not that I don't talk about women, because I do. I started out studying men. I learned the male psychology before I learned the female psychology. Interesting enough. Either way I go, I still learned the psychology of the human psyche. Period. I watch. I am a watcher. That's how we study. You study people by watching, which is the same thing as a monitoring spirit. And no, I'm not doing it on the low end. I'm doing it on the high end. It's for growth and in order to learn how to actually help people. That's what I do. So I'm finna get ready to start talking more in depth on women. I've been studying them more, and I've been picking up more things. I can pick up cues just by looking at a lot of women's videos, looking at how they speak, and just everything they do. So one of the things that I notice with women, when it comes to, I'm talking about the aspect, well, let me start here, the aspect of teaching, because a lot of women are actually starting to grow. A lot of us are starting to be accountable for ourselves and everything that we've done. And in that, in being accountable for ourselves and our lives, some of us are out here actually teaching now. There are so many women teachers popping up right now, which is actually a plus. They're trying to show other women the way, which is what we're doing. We're all way shores amongst a bunch of other different things at the same time. So I learned from these women. I learned from everybody. I learned from women. I learned from men. So I noticed with the teachers in a community of females, of women, we teach from a standpoint of trying to help other women avoid the pitfalls that we had, that we couldn't avoid. This is what we're doing. We're coming back for the smaller ones, the younger generation, the little girls and little boys who are starting to come up, because this is for them. So we're guiding them so that they'll know where to go, so that they can avoid all of the things, or a good majority of the things that we could not. We were all under a generational curse. And what I want to say first about that, because one of the things, well, I'm going to get into that later. But again, back to the teaching with the women who are starting to grow and starting to evolve. Basically, those of us who are actually healing and actually on the journey. Okay, so by watching a lot of women, including myself, I learn from myself, and I learn by watching others as well, because some of the things I see in other people is actually in me too. I was able to see it in me too. So it's about how we attack each other in our teachings. I'm going to 2 points. That's one of them. When you're trying to teach, it's kind of hard for a lot of people to actually understand where we're coming from when you tearing a person down. And this is something that I noticed that a lot of women is doing. This video is not about men. This is about women. So I noticed that we come on attack mode. And I know I'll come on attack mode, especially if we in the shadows. It's okay if you acknowledging you in your shadows. You can say that's your shadows, because it is. But now you got to figure out what you want to do with that and your approach. So, but I'm going to get back to that. Go back to where I was actually headed to when it comes to us teaching the healing aspect. I'm noticing that there's a lot of women that's teaching from a point of experience, because I only teach from experience, or whatever messages I get through channeling. That's what I bring forth. I bring forth messages of channeling and life lessons, life experiences. And it's the same thing pretty much some other women are doing as well. But what I noticed about, it's just one sister. She's not the only one. There's many of them that's doing the same thing. And they're saying that they healed. First of all, none of us are healed. We are healing. It's a journey. You talking about healing generational curses. We are not just carrying ourselves in this lifetime. This is something that I learned, and it came to me last year. We are not just experiencing and feeling pain from just this life. We experiencing it from every life before too, which is why a lot of people are going through so much pain in this one. You think that it's just from this life, and it is not. We're covering our ancestors' pain too. And I figured that out last year once I started getting downloads about all the things that my mom went through and my grandma went through and aunts and all those generations going back and back. We're feeling the pain that they went through. So that's a lot. It's a lot. We have a lot to acknowledge. We have a lot to heal. And it's not going to take some days or months. And that's the journey that's the part of the journey that a lot of people are afraid of, which is why they never get on it. Because the process is lengthy and it's expected. But even though the process is lengthy, you're going to see shifts and changes within months. But it's going to take more than months for you to actually fully heal. Maybe even lifetimes. Who knows? So, but with the women who's teaching, just like I'm teaching, coming back, sharing things through experience and sharing channeled messages with other people that's beneficial to other people, not just me. What we do is, we're like putting our hands around women's neck. Okay, we were already in a chokehold, okay? We were already in a chokehold by the system. The system programmed man to also have us in a chokehold. So the system got us all in a chokehold. They programmed our male counterparts to put us in the chokehold. Then our children put us in the chokehold. We're constantly in a chokehold already. So what we're not going to do, what I'm no longer going to do is put a chokehold on us as women. I spoke about grace, and we deserve grace. Everyone deserves grace once you start healing. You can't continue to keep beating yourself up. That's a problem. Beating yourself up is causing more wounds. We already have wounds we're healing and dealing with. You don't want to accumulate more wounds within trying to heal the wounds you already have, as well as your ancestral bloodline wounds. We're clearing a lot of wounds. Saying that, there's no reason for us to be attacking other people about the choices that they made. And when I speak to people out there, I'm speaking to myself too. Everything I say out there, it always goes back to me too. Because I've done it. I know I've done it. I see myself. I watch myself. So I'm like, okay, wow, I need to work on that. But this is where I'm going to. We attack because we're attacking what? Ourselves. So how we treat ourselves is really how we're treating other people out there. So this came to me last week, because I was attacking myself my entire life. I was overly critiquing myself. I was always harshly judging myself. And so doing that, what we do, we project it. I was a projector too. I was projecting that shit outward. So it's like we beating up on our counterpart, our sisters, who have the same experience that we have, because we are actually doing it to ourselves. We already did. And I know for me, I was already beating myself up. That's not something that's hard for me to say now, because I understand grace and compassion. And I started giving myself that because I know I deserve it. We were in a position of being enslaved for hundreds of years. You can't expect us to know. we have to be taught. We have to learn. We have to go through experience. We have to go through A, B, C in order for us to get to the end goal. So now that we know we have to be coming back from all the way back there to here, we deserve the grace. We were all caught up in the system. So what we're not going to do is continue to keep beating ourselves up. And we're not going to continue to keep projecting it onto other people either. So we have to figure out a way to give ourselves the compassion so that we can be able to come back and teach from that compassion without trying to clobber people and make it worse for them. And why? Because they are already beating themselves up anyway. Why? How do I know that? Because I can read people. And two, because I do it to myself. I was doing it to myself too. You know, in reality, we are actually, when people blame other people for the things that they went through in their life, like we as women, we'll blame all the men who hurt us in our life for us becoming who we are, for us to respond the way we're responding. We are really blaming ourselves. And why? I'm speaking for myself, my experience right here. It comes off that we're blaming the people who hurt us, the males who hurt us. It comes off that way. But in reality, we're really angry at ourselves. Me, I was angry at myself. I'm speaking from my experience because I knew better. Not that I was taught better, because pretty much majority of all of us were tossed out into the world with really no skill set. We didn't have a solid foundation. We didn't have a solid family structure. Our family structures have been broken for centuries. So none of us had a solid foundation. The only foundation that I had, and other women like me had, or any men like me had, was the gifts that we hid from the world, because the world was not ready for the gifts we had, which is being the medium, channeling, psychic, intuitive, empath. I'm all of those things. So I was born with those gifts, but I didn't understand it. I would know when folks was lying. I would get all type of messages, visions and shit when I was younger, but these gifts was not talked about. They were not teaching it. And when we brought up things that we knew as kids, what happened? That's not true. You got a whooping or things of that nature. So for me, I didn't know what I had was a gift. So which means I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how to use my power. I didn't even know it was a power. We wasn't taught this. That's the part where we deserve grace. I deserve grace. So we go out in the world. I went out in the world and people doing all sorts of shit to me that I knew that they were going to do. Right? So this is why I would beat myself up, because I would see what's going to happen before I went into the door. Right? But I still took my ass in that door. So even though it comes off like I'm angry at the person who hurt me, and I am, because you still hurt me, okay? But I'm more angry at myself because you only had the opportunity to do what you did to me because I walked my ass in the door. But we still deserve grace and compassion because we didn't know it was a gift. We were detached from the self. And we did not trust self. So being detached from the self makes you go against yourself. So you turn this way. So which means you don't know how to trust the self. This is why we deserve grace. This is why I'm not going to beat myself up. This is why I'm not going to project that shit out into the world on another sister. And this is what I see a lot of women doing to each other. As women, and I'm not going to say we, because I'm not in that category anymore, but a lot of y'all will protect and cover a man before you will your own sister. Yeah, and I've been seeing this since I was a kid. They'll hold a man safe and always attack the woman. We got to stop that. So we can't be out here attacking each other for things none of us knew. We have to find everyone have to find another way, another direction, another option, another solution to help if that's really your aim. If your aim is really to help and assist, and I know mine is, you gotta find a better way, another solution to help people, because you're not helping them by beating them up, by projecting your shit onto them. We're not going to continue to keep beating each other down for the things that we did not know. We did not know better. So, which means we have to be able to take some time, step back, and take a good look at ourselves and how we're presenting ourselves. I always look at how I'm presenting myself. I'm like, I don't like that shit. I gotta figure out how to change it. And I'm bringing this up because I see these women teaching and they're beating women up through their experience by projecting their shit onto them. So women feel because we're growing and we got out of the hell that we were in, that it's okay for us to come back down and beat the other women up who don't want to wake up. That's not our job to do. It really wasn't even our job to beat ourselves up. But we didn't know better. But now that we know better, we fucking do better. You're not helping somebody by beating them up because they are already doing it. So, which means I realized, looking at a lot of women, the ones who saying that they healed and they've done the healing, no, you did not. You didn't, and you're not done. Whenever I hear someone say that I've done the healing work, I've been healing all my life, that screams lack of accountability and lies. Because again, you can tell when you project your shit outside what's really going on in here, and here. We all, well, I can say we all know, but I know people like me know y'all not healed, loves. I know you would want to be healed. We all want to be healed, and that's what I look for. I look for everyone to heal. This world sucks. This system sucks. This system fucked us all. But you can't come back trying to beat somebody up by projecting your experiences on them. They're not going to learn that way. It's going to make them leave and not want to listen to you. Now, for me, I listen to all the women with my ass. You know, when we come back and teach, those teachings are the whoopings. That's the whoopings. Whoop your ass, beat you up. You don't got to literally get a cord or a string or whatever to hit somebody. Your words can beat somebody up. Now, I can beat you up with my words. I'm real good with that. So, with all of this beating up of the words of people, like I said again, they are already doing that to themselves. So you got to find another solution in order to actually help them if you really want them to be healed and helped. But we have to see what areas that we're still unhealed at so that we can stop projecting our pain onto other people, because it's just adding more fuel to the fire. So it's like you end up doing the opposite of what you were trying to do. You're trying to help them heal, but you didn't push them further backwards. So the areas that I saw in these women that they studied to go back in and heal, those points of themselves, is to realize that they still are lacking accountability because they still don't fully see themselves. So until you can fully see yourselves, you may want to take a step back when it comes to actually teaching, or maybe try a different approach because you're sending the wrong message that still actually harms other women, especially the young ones, because it's causing another confusion, especially with the platform growing so wide and largely with so many women, because we're starting to flood the system to be able to heal it. We're breaking the system down now, and we've been doing this for years. So you're causing confusion. Everybody can't be a teacher. A lot of people haven't even sat in a student chair long enough to even be a teacher. And I'm saying all this to say, because I watched and still watch a lot of women. I watch everybody because I learn, and it's giving me ideas and solutions to come back and help based off what they need to help at. So For example, this one female, and again, it's millions of them, but I'm gonna start with her because all of it still goes back together. I think she's a pretty good teacher, but it's she don't come with solutions. One, I'm gonna say that there. A lot of them do not come with solutions. That's another thing I noticed with a lot of the so-called teachers, spiritual teachers, leaders. Most of them do not have not one solution. Their channel don't talk about solutions. Their channels are just talking about you being stupid for making a decision you made. This is what they're doing. How is that healing? Where's the solution? I can count on one hand how many female teachers that I sit and watch that don't do that, which means we're still lagging behind. This one female, right? And she feel like she's grown so much. All I see her do is project her pain. She's in so much pain and she do not see it. And I feel so bad for her. She went through so much hell with the men in her life. She put the opposite message on social media because we all know that a lot of people will go with anything that sounds right without questioning anything. She knows that. She has the following. And a lot of them who do this are the ones who have the major following because they know they're going to always get those likes. So they begin to think that, okay, I know I'm on the right path based on the likes and the conversations they get on their post. That's not what makes things right. So if I'm teaching women from my experience to teach them how to choose better, I'm not going to sit and say that I never went through. What she does is, I never went through this. I don't see how you women is dealing with men who don't clean themselves, who don't help, who don't do this. I don't see how y'all marrying men. How could y'all get caught up in situations with men like this and who's doing this? And I never had to deal with that. And she's lying because she's up there with her platform from the fact that she experienced the things that she said she didn't. Remember, people project, okay? They project outwards. Whatever I talk about, I experienced. If I tell you to avoid this person, this man, look out for this and look out for that, I'm telling you through experience, okay? That means I experienced it. So the part that the women haven't healed from yet, and they avoided it altogether and became more delusional. So it appears to be a healing happening, but it's really not a healing that's really happening at all. They created something in their head and made them think that they were healing, and they still sitting on these platforms projecting and causing more harm. They can't even read themselves to see what they're doing. If I'm teaching you something, I'm teaching you from my experience and from my messages. And again, by me being a very good reader, I can always see through people's psyche. So a lot of them are teaching from an unhealed standpoint because why are you telling women you stupid? And I've done it too. Okay, I call myself out, calling them stupid, and I never had to deal with this, and I didn't do with that. Y'all dumb as hell. Y'all some stupid hoes from dealing with this. I didn't have to. I'm not dealing with no man who you did. You did. That's why you have your platform. That's also why you don't like men. And this other woman, she married a white man, and I'm not against any culture. It's not what I'm doing here. I'm bringing it up to say she married that white man because she lost faith in black men. Because black men in her life dragged her ass. We all got dragged. So she lost faith in black men. So she went and crossed over. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because I feel like you go where you feel loved. I go according to energy. But when I see, because she's always talking about Dusty, talking about black men. And I get it. I agree with the shit they've done. But you have to be willing to admit you haven't healed from the trauma that they've caused you in your life. And you coming back to beat up on other women from them dealing with the same things that you dealt with that you still haven't healed from. These type of women do not need a platform because you're sending out the wrong and a false signal. And she's unhappy. Okay? I can see it in all of us. She's completely unhappy and she pretends. It's like she's gaslighting herself out of healing. And this is what I've noticed with a lot of women. They're gaslighting themselves out of healing. It appears that they're healing, but they're doing the opposite of. Because if you were really healing, then you would have found a different approach to teach, just like I'm doing right now. Because I go back and I look at all my videos that I put out. I monitor myself the same way I monitor other women. So I can see what areas that I need to work on. I watch myself. And you're not healed as a woman if you can't watch yourself. A lot of us as women cannot even watch ourselves. You'll do a video and won't go back to actually assess it. And I'm talking about really sitting there micromanaging the same way you micromanage everybody else. So this is what I do. I do a lot of work with myself. So whatever I record, whatever I write, I go back and I read it. And I go back and look at the videos. This is how I learned myself. And I'm like, okay, I need to fix that. Oh my God, I'm fucking projecting. I'm not going to take the video down. I did a video where I said, we're all changing and we're going to continue to shift until we get to where we're supposed to be. So there's no need to feel embarrassed or ashamed. As long as there's shame, guilt, and being embarrassed about where you came from, you can't heal. And that's the point that I was getting to. We're carrying a whole lot of shame. We feel guilty for, we're embarrassed for the things that we went through with the men in our lives. And I admit, I am. What all of us did was we hid the chaos in our lives with the men we were with. We held them up and no one knew what we were really going through behind closed doors because this is what history brought. Tradition, we don't talk about our family home. That stays in the home.